start.
This is terrific. I can't believe it. I'm excited. Look at the turnout. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you, everyone.
Let's make money.
Has everyone met our new member, John?
Yeah,
I know your name, but I
Howdy.
don't know why I know your name, other than I just heard it.
I have no idea. I did work down where you worked near Pratt and Whitney for a good portion of my career. I was at Goodall Hospital, so you might know me from there. You might know me from newspapers down that way. Who knows?
There's not that many people with an S on the end of your,
Yeah, it's very rare.
Can you give us I know most of
Sure.
us heard your little background last time, but maybe do it again.
I'm the Communications and Public Affairs Director at Lincoln Health.
Oh, good.
Great.
I've had, I've been here for a whole 9 months. I live in Waldeboro.
Whereabouts?
I live on Chapel Road.
Okay, yeah.
And he's got internet too.
And I have
Oh.
internet. Right on,
Wow.
right on the corner, and I'm lucky that I have the internet. But yeah, I've been a communications person for most of my career. Started as a journalist. Didn't like poverty, so I moved on to other things. And I've been doing communications and public relations since then, basically, starting at my local hometown hospital at the time, which was Goodall Hospital in Sanford. So I'm back into the company where I actually started, because now Goodall is part of Southern Maine Healthcare, which is part of Maine Health, which
Indeed.
Lincoln Health is as well, so.
how long ago were you at Goodall?
Jeez,
I had a daughter that worked there for
a long time ago, probably in the 90s.
Okay, since
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Back to the focus.
Your last name was?
Martin.
Martin with an S on the S, or
Okay.
the end. I tell people I'm a pain in the ass, so that's how they know it.
That's funny.
All right, thank you. And obviously, the reason that we've moved our meetings to evening is so that we could attract members who have real jobs and can actually come and attend. So, but we are still looking for new members, so get the word out. If we can get more, that'd be terrific. You're not going to believe this, but the minutes that we need to approve are the October
Oh, my God.
minutes. And so if I could have
So moved.
Seconded.
all in favor? Awesome. So thank you, Max, for getting those out. And
Done.
and we're it's actually chairman's report, but I'm going to hand it over to you, gentlemen, and you've got some things that you want to talk about. Maybe we could quickly go over the transportation survey too, and I'm not sure, I know we had some updates last time we were together.
So I'll just quickly jump in for a TIF update, just because I was talking to Bill about this earlier.
Okay.
So it's been submitted to the state, and I got a call from Tina Mullins.
Tina.
Yep, she's the one who runs that area. And there has to be some revisions made to it, mostly clarification and technical ones. Fortunately, the warrant that was approved does allow us to make these technical improvements without having to go to a vote.
Good.
As long as it's just clarification, it doesn't change the whole narrative of it.
Okay.
So, thank you, Bill, for including that, because she said some towns don't have that in there. But I'll,
We do that because they always have changes.
Well, they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's something I'll be probably doing tomorrow.
Good.
We'll
We'll look at it again tomorrow morning.
Yep. But we will still be able to capture the new value for this year, so that's good at least. Bill, do you have anything you want to quickly say?
I just mentioned to George, we're working with Numangi on their financing.
American Unagi?
American Unagi,
They-
with their FAME financing, and they're moving ahead, so.
Presuming everything goes as well as they indicated today, they will be investing in some real estate
Yeah.
in May, June,
Good, good, good.
a bunch of it.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of the public survey, or transportation survey, that everyone, well, Jan, Bob, and John looked at last month. You can take a quick look at
We
it.
voted on that Tuesday night, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Had the select board take a look at it to approve the final language that's on there, and it is reformatted to the more check format that you were talking about. I took off the header on the back just so we don't have to pay for color on both sides,
Oh, good.
and also so we could get some more
More
additional comment space. Other than that, it's still the same application pretty much.
So has the select board approved it?
Yep.
And so it'll go out when?
So I talked to Lincoln County Publishing, who will be doing the 2,600 copies, as well as getting the 2 envelopes, 1 business reply and 1 outer envelope. They said that should take about 2 weeks, so I'm imagining this will go out around President's Day, and then I will want people to turn them in by March 20th, 2020. And I only did that because I just wanted to say,
Got a nice resident.
yeah, March 2020.
So what about this number 7? When you say, would you use a bus or shuttle service that would transport people throughout Waldeboro?
I added that question more to get some other spot locations in Waldeboro for stops.
Do you, oh, I see, what stops would you suggest? So you're just trying to figure out where people would like to go?
Yes,
Okay, good,
because I have my own stops in mind, but
yeah.
everyone may overwhelmingly say, oh, I want to go here. And, okay, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
And we think we know where here is, but we're not, but you never know.
But I'm not saying it because I don't want to taint the results.
Yeah.
So the
Anyway.
bus shuttle service thing is separate or different from this thing that is like a regional one, different towns?
No, it could be either one.
So on the, what would you pay? I see, you have Damerscott or Rockland throughout Waldeboro, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Do you
only
guys
spent
wanna
about
see?
20 years trying to find someone willing to run a
Pass it
taxi
around.
service.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to
Just
step
won't do
into
it.
that hole, no.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
So Max, on the distribution, you were gonna visit some of the more densely populated sections of town to see if they can work with you to get the data.
Right, and because there's actually a bit of money left over from my calculations of how much money is going to be spent on just sending this out through the mail, there's still a few hundred left. So
Wonderful.
I'll do some sessions with Sproul Block, Waldeboro
Great.
Village, and other sort of downtown-focused areas to.
Would it be worth it to ask the pharmacy to have a box that people could turn them in? Or something like that?
It does say it at the end of that
Okay,
survey
I didn't
for
look.
people to turn them in either here at the town office or at the library, and I'm going to make sure.
Library's good.
And I'm gonna make sure Kat, the
Yep.
librarian, is all set with
Okay,
that, and
good.
I'll make sure to tell her when it's all being sent out.
Great, thank you.
So are we gonna have surveys available at those locations too?
No,
So for
everyone
some-
in Waldeboro should be getting one in the mail.
Okay, so there's no need.
No need, but if someone doesn't get it, and I'll make sure to put out a press release too that this is happening. If no one gets one, to feel free to just call me and I'll give them one. And if there's any employers who have people who work in Waldeboro but don't live in Waldeboro, then I don't mind also giving them a few.
You could put it on the website, they can print it out.
The website's not really working yet, is
Yeah,
it?
No, it's
the,
not.
the website's something I just
All right.
don't want to. This was just a more direct
Yeah,
way of
right.
doing it.
The hope is that everybody, whether they are responsive to this or not, will fill out the survey, because if only people who need it fill out the survey, your data's
Not gonna
already
get
skewed.
Yeah,
Sirius is huge, yeah.
well, if you think too, what you might need now and what you might need or enjoy using in 5 years is probably different depending on age.
Yes, if you're 22, it probably won't change.
Right, not for a while.
Max, I think you need a little tiny upgrade on that in telling everybody that receives one to please return it.
Please submit your survey no later than March, right down here, the last.
We need them all.
Like put it at the front saying, we'd appreciate, can we put that somewhere? We appreciate people to please return this with a response or something.
Please return all the surveys.
The reason why, see, because some, okay, you know, because you've been working on this for a
Yep.
long, but you know how people are. And they get something and they're like, eh,
So you want me to have it like on the front right there under
yeah,
purpose?
say, we really need you to return this survey. Please do. And then at the back, please submit your survey. to
Just
that.
remind
And it's no cost to them, right? Because they're getting an envelope. They just.
Right, they're getting a business reply
Right.
envelope.
So I could see something bold at the top, please return by March 3rd.
Yeah, on both sides.
Are you printing the envelope?
Yes.
So
Eh,
could it be put into the envelope, put on the envelope, please respond, or is that too late? In other words, everything goes into an envelope, they see the envelope, tear it up, and throw it away before they even see what the survey and the envelope.
He's
say.
sending a return envelope inside, he said.
Inside an envelope.
A business
though, right?
reply, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an envelope.
They're just trying to, the reason
good
is
bill
that,
collector
the
would.
reason why is that people don't always read something to the very bottom and they don't always pay attention. And so if you could find space, you got room, well, this is a lot of comments, but that's okay. But if you could find space just for one line that says,
Has it already gone to the printer?
I can see, I sent it today, I can see if
they could just add
they can just add
a
that
sentence.
Midget.
What you're talking about is incentivizing or somehow cajoling people into doing what they might not do because it's just another survey. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's
Just trying to
exactly what
get
we're
them to,
talking about.
so one thing, there's a line here, please contact Max at, what if you put, please return by March 2020, and then you can put, please contact if you have any questions.
Do we ever do like press releases or is there a publication?
And that's what I'll do.
Someplace where you could, I don't want to misrepresent anything, but is there a way you could load some urgency on it in a press release? Like your taxes are gonna go through the roof if you don't fill this out? You know,
No,
I'm just trying to think if there's any way, I mean, I
No,
get
I
so
don't
much
think I'll
crap
avoid
in the
that.
mail and it says
I-
urgent, must reply, and I throw those away automatically.
Well,
That's a good idea, to have a press release.
If there was some way to encourage me,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that.
no, I was,
threat, but-
I was planning on doing the press release at least the week before and the week it is out, just
Good.
so people know that.
That's good.
There was an article in the Lincoln County News saying that this is gonna happen. It is what encouraged me to do the whole face makeover, because my goodness, I
Oh.
looked at a picture of myself and I looked like a college student who at the last minute had to make a presentation.
Oh, my God.
We were gonna bring that up. to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
that's
coming.
funny.
Look at our chair.
at-
We didn't have to say anything.
You'll get old soon enough.
So anyways, I'll do the press release leading up to it to be more descriptive on that,
Okay.
as well as for,
If there could be something at stake, I don't know what it would be, but
Well, it's the future, I mean, trying to figure out what we're gonna need down the road and what people could use and trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. I mean, there is, I mean, it's an interesting what's going on in Rockland, that bus that's doing the circle from Walmart over to the hospital, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
That took 6 years.
I know, but it was constant work, right? It was, people
It
were
doesn't
just,
just happen.
no, nothing,
That was part of your
nothing,
thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
nothing just happens, so.
this isn't an electric bus or a propane bus or anything.
this is merely just seeing if people are interested in a bus.
You have some money left over, right?
Yes.
You know.
Why don't you give away,
I'm,
Whoever-
I'm not giving $500
No, no,
away
no,
to
no.
a random surveyor.
no, why don't you take the returns, have a lottery, and the winner gets a free round trip ticket on the train to
Problem is,
Boston.
it's an anonymous survey.
Oh,
That's too bad.
Well, that was something that I kept.
You could number them.
oh yeah, now
We're,
you're
we're that,
Still
it's,
anonymous,
still anonymous.
Printing would cost more too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ted,
Anyway, I didn't mean to open up a can of.
Yeah.
you look like you had a comment.
Well, I dropped a couple of the comments that came afterwards.
I also had to make sure there's money left over for when there's business replies,
Yeah.
because we're
That's
paying
right, too.
like 91 cents for every
Cents,
letter coming
yeah.
in.
I was thinking about this being paid for by taxpayers' money. In order for it to be valuable, we need good returns to have a solid answer and not waste your money.
It
Well,
was-
this is being funded through Lincoln County's
It's a grant.
The grant
grant
program.
program, so I could make that as the incentive.
That's
This
a
is a
good-
free,
Right,
this is an opportunity where the taxpayers aren't paying for it.
right.
Don't lose it, or else next time you're paying for it.
Fair enough. Now you're.
Any-
I
I
like
just-
that too.
If there's something you could think of that you felt comfortable with,
Yeah,
But you don't want to say it in such a way that, again, that excuse it, because if you're addressing it to
Right.
people who need it and forgetting the people who don't, you're still gonna get skewed data.
John?
I think, I mean, one of the things that, so I've done a lot of patient satisfaction surveys and other things
Good.
in my lifetime. the reality is you're not gonna get 100%.
No.
You're probably not gonna get 50%.
Right.
We're aware.
You know, that's the challenge. I mean, and then you've got to determine what they call this non-response bias. So are the people who
Yeah.
are not responding for a reason? And you have to sort of look at that a little bit as well. But I think if you were to get 40%,
Yep,
that would be a good number. It really would be a good number.
I would expect 10%.
I'd
You
expect
know,
less
we've got
than
12.
that.
I think
If
We
that,
got
it would be,
15 on the broadband survey and thought, wow.
Well, for comparison, I believe the recreation department, when they did their community center survey, to the same number of people, I believe they had maybe 500 responses. That's about a
10%.
yeah,
Well, how's
No.
20%.
20%.
That's very
20%.
good.
That's
That's
not
a very
bad
good
number.
response.
Yeah, it's
It really
very
is.
Right.
That
That's a
is
good.
good.
And I don't think they had a press release or anything like that. And I'm not saying again, I'm saying I won't. I will do the press release, especially with the money I have left. But
Right.
I have some faith in people to get the survey done.
But it seems to me there will be a lot of interest in the town in this subject.
Oh, yeah.
So when I get the envelope in the mail, right? How am I gonna know that that's
On the outside of the envelope, it's going to say Public Transportation Survey.
for Waldeboro?
Waldeboro Town Office.
At the corner, it's going to say Waldeboro Town Office, all that. And then right on it, it's going to say Public Transportation Survey.
See, I think
That's
we're gonna, I'll bet we get a good
That's good.
response to it. I'll bet.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, broadband, you said
actually going out
50%?
to like the small ball.
15, yeah.
Those people that
Well, and that's
you'll
what I'll
get
do
a
too,
better
yeah.
response.
All right, and,
next.
I'm just curious, Bill, what kind of response did you get in Rockland when you put out the
Oh,
survey?
it wasn't very, well, it's a different, we got, most of the response was from Rockland, Camden, Rockport, we didn't get much, Thomaston, we didn't get too much. But there was a lot of reach out that had to get done. That's where you go towards the population that you would anticipate that would be using the service. And that took a couple of months to get that information back.
Yeah.
Does the survey ask your age by any chance?
Does this survey ask? No.
Age category?
No, it asks for year-round seasonal residents, asks what people, you can take a look at the
No,
survey.
I glanced, I just wondered,
Yeah.
and if it's too late, it's too late, but
Oh,
it would
right.
be useful information to know if this person responding is over 60 or under 60. And most people just drive because they've always driven.
Yeah, again, you want to identify that part of the population that needs this service or would use it.
I mean, it says it in the very first sentence. This is just,
It's a start.
it's a start. It's just
Yeah.
even seeing if there's interest. I
Yeah.
don't really need to get into the nitty-gritty of it
Okay.
now.
Your idea was based on what we get from this, to go and dig
Further.
deeper with
Yeah.
another survey.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Well, maybe not even another survey,
Maybe
just
another way of doing it.
Start to
forums.
attract, yeah.
You could also consider putting a tile up on LCTV's bulletin board.
Oh, good point. That's a good
You
point.
just go to their website and there's a place where you can
It's a
go in
form.
and make your own or download your own slide. It's sort of a scrolling bulletin.
that's
All I have
good.
to do is say, watch for the survey in the mail.
Yep.
That is actually a free thing
Yeah.
all of us can use. Thank
And
you.
I'm actually surprised how many people watch LCTV.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing how many
It is
people
pretty-
watch.
Pretty popular,
Yep,
so.
One of the things I think will happen is, and I, just from glancing through the questions, simply seeing what the questions are will be communicating what might be all about. So the next survey, you'll have a history of, well, why are they asking, what are they considering, what are the topics, as opposed to just, is there gonna be a bus here, or?
Right.
I think a second survey would probably be much more responded to than the first one.
how big's the Rockland bus?
What do you mean by how big?
How
many
many
seats?
passengers can it take?
It's a medium size, not a full.
Yeah,
40
it's-
people?
No.
No.
I think
20,
25.
12 to 20, I think.
Yeah, that's tops, yeah. And that bus would never filled at all.
Yeah.
It's never filled. It takes a long time
To do the
build
route.
ridership.
The
I mean,
cir- oh, yeah.
they originally thought that they were gonna go Camden to, through Rockport but the only route that was viable was that loop between,
Yep.
Wally
Walmart.
Mart and Penn Bay Hospital.
And Penn Bay, yeah.
Because that captured Rockland. That's where most of the users were.
Yeah.
If not all the users.
How many stops did they make along that route?
Trying to remember.
Well, they've updated it since last summer. I
Yeah.
think it's now maybe 10 stops.
Yeah, originally, they only thought, I think, the ones that would, not excluding the two ends, I think there were only 4 in the middle originally.
When we visit Acadia National Park in the summer, they've got all that bus system. And you certainly are not surprised to see visitors going on it, but there's an awful lot of residents who use it all
Yeah.
over the place.
That's right, yeah.
I saw an article in Bangor Daily News today that said that they had record
Yeah,
use of it.
but that's where congestion drives that.
Right, congestion,
Yeah.
oh yeah, horrible
It is-
congestion,
You don't have to buy
Yeah.
gas or have,
right,
lots of people go to the grocery store and then get picked up in the next bus.
Yep.
yep.
The park was set up for horse and buggy, and those days are gone.
I know for us, certainly, hospitals you would
Yeah.
think would be
Yeah.
key,
Yep.
stops like that.
And even people who don't have cars to get down to Hannaford and pick some stuff up,
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right.
so they can get a ride home.
All right. Should we go over to Bill?
I'm good on this.
Yep, all right.
So
I
Bill
guess,
wants to talk about downtown?
yeah, this is something we started back, and one of the projects we identified in the SEDS plan, and this was a project that the committee selected we should start with. And it encompasses what we would call the downtown and the Route 1 corridor. And the boundaries are movable, but basically it could include between the two hills. So we can go from Moody's to up where West Main connects back to 1. And it's to take a look at that area, do a couple of things. Enhance the businesses on the strip of Route 1, help push activity back towards the downtown, and just revitalize the area. I'll give a quick story. We were looking for office space and looked at renting an office in the downtown. For a lot of reasons, we didn't take it, and I don't want to say this too much on the record, but we're glad we didn't, because the downtown's dead. I mean, nothing's happening
I'm
there.
well aware,
You know,
keenly aware.
The pharmacy is in the tavern, and you have some businesses, but there's no vitality. So if we want that area to grow,
Hannaford and Walmart walked away with it.
that's right. But we need to connect back, into that area. So there's a couple things. It's all, everything's there. The foundation is there. It's got good bones. We just have to sweep away and, polish it off a little bit. And first thing, we have to stop talking about downtown. It's not a downtown. It's a village.
Village Center.
The village gives us a lot more opportunities because we can blend housing and businesses and doctor's offices and professional buildings, recreation, and, the walking trails along the river, connect to the Pine Street Landing. There's a school, there's all sorts of possibilities here. And make this a place where, there's a lot of activity. So if you may not find a lot of stores there, but it's a beautiful area, the homes and so we can attract other kinds of activity. We've got the theater, there's kind of a renaissance of
Yes.
that happening.
Yes.
So there's things there that people could do.
Yep.
But all we need is to start, polishing off the dusty areas and upzone also some of those areas.
What's the latest on A.D. Gray's future?
Well, that's another component too, is that the
It's part of
viability.
what makes it-
Yeah, the viability of that building is dependent on what happens around it. If that was in any other location, somebody would have grabbed it, because it's you've got a view on the upper floors.
Yeah, I know, it's
It's in
beautiful.
walking distance of the Hannaford.
it's
You've got all
gorgeous.
these, you're right next to the library,
Yeah,
Is there anybody planning, I haven't been at very many meetings lately, and
Not right yet. However, there's two things happening. The Rockport and Thomaston both have RFQs out for areas to develop for a mix of, some sort of mix of either or a combination of commercial and housing. Rockport's on the intersection of 90 and 1, and Thomaston's the old Village Green where the jail was there. And, this is an opportune time. There's a need for housing or whatever, so,
There is.
Waldeboro should jump on, this is some connection that goes
Can you
on.
kind of walk me through the genesis of how this works? Like, I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
all right.
But so how does the
How do we
town-
get
How
the
do we
money?
start? Yeah.
No, what are we gonna, well, even, and
are
if
we
we get
gonna
money,
do?
what are we gonna do?
But
with
how
it?
do we identify?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The first thing is we have to, there's a lot of planning steps that need to get done. So we would need to create on our own kind of a master plan of how we want to approach this. What's our angle? And I think that's where the village angle comes in on that there. Identify those areas that we need to, what I call upzone or to enhance.
What does that mean, upzone?
Upzone is where our zoning is, it allows a particular use that doesn't maximize its value, both, economically, but also asset to the community. We sell a lot of gas on Route 1.
Yeah.
But that's only a small,
Right.
small aspect. So
Right.
how do we upzone? Well, we've got space. The Irving Station has space next door. We have Dee's Restaurant sitting there.
Right.
Across the street, there's.
Yep, an
you know,
empty garage
Empty
house
garage,
thing.
yeah.
Yep.
There's that property for sale that Hannaford bought years ago.
Everything's for sale.
Yeah, not all of it's marketable, but it's there.
Yep.
On the other side, going up near Tucker's, we have that land before that's underutilized.
I'm trying to sell.
That's
I'm trying
very
to-
high level.
I'm trying to get that land utilized.
High value.
For an electric recharge station.
Well,
with Tucker.
that's a component too, but we need more to
More
get
than that,
people there,
yeah.
We need
That's
to.
that's one of the most valuable pieces of property we have.
Max had a
Right there.
good point about the charging stations.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be quick charge.
Right.
They take an hour or two. So what are they gonna
Or
do in
longer.
that hour or two? We
Right.
need to give them a trail to walk on,
Stuff to
go eat
do.
at the tavern, go buy some drugs at the pharmacy, whatever it is. But, and we don't have that, something to do.
Right.
So we have to get something, we need to identify those holes. And then the second thing is, and also identify the assets that we need. Trail, it gets us to look for grants. Do we need sewer and water to expand? Yes, so that's, and that's an EDA grant. Those are components that we can look for funding for.
So we do need places for people to stay.
Well, that comes a little,
After?
you're not gonna get a hotel until you give them
Something.
a place or a view. And there's a couple of spots that are just gorgeous, where the storage buildings are. There's
Where
that
are they?
hillside,
What storage building?
the
The
self-storage.
one right out here on Route
Atlantic?
1.
Atlantic
Yeah,
storage?
you have that nice
Yeah.
little hillside, boy, that would make a nice little small hotel. You can landscape it, walking trails
Could
to
even
connect.
talk to them about that.
Well, yeah, there's, some of that's happening.
Yeah,
but-
okay.
But before anybody's even gonna invest money in that,
Yeah.
they're not gonna build it
No.
until there's something else happen. And a streetscape plan.
Right.
And the streetscape plan needs to involve everybody with frontage on 1. We need to sit down, have a conversation with everybody. Guys, we need to improve this. What can we do? What do we
To make
agree
it look
on?
inviting.
It doesn't have to be a lot, but it just needs to be something to say, let's unify this whole strip so that everybody can see their signs. We're, creating, points of entry in logical places. All the parking lots interconnect on that. And we have some sort of landscaping plan. We don't need high landscaping, because it's we want it to be a busy strip, but we want something that, when you enter this strip, that, it's uniform, it's clean, it's presentable, it does, but that's something the businesses have to be involved with. And we can work that into our ordinance we have conditions for landscaping and all this stuff.
We actually
signs.
have a lot of stuff in there.
But we could
Yeah.
say, you could design it to what's in the ordinance, or you can conform to the streetscape plan approved.
Sumner had.
And we can have money to, we can have money to help,
Incentives, yeah.
yeah, to do
To
that.
do that, yeah.
Sumner had a couple of newcomers to town approach him to buy his old 5 and 10 right up down by the lawyer's office.
Oh.
And that's being sold to a group that want to use it in combination with making the Congregational Church more available for various situations.
Those are one of the assets, the church, the library.
All the
Yeah,
improvements being
you have a
done.
doctor's office that moved
Yeah.
in,
Oh, yeah.
your building, I mean, they're all, there's that West Main Street going up there is gorgeous.
Yeah,
You go a little further out, where they're at the brewery.
yeah,
Let's make sure people can walk to it.
Yep.
you know, on that, and then swing around into Moody's on that there. There's a-
Odd Alewives out there, I mean, just lots of wonderful stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot going on. If you go down the street, past the downtown, there's some of those houses are gorgeous through there.
Yeah.
You know, and there's that property that's been for sale, it's like 235, where,
Right on
what's-
the river?
no, on the opposite side, the woman who did the yarn, oh, God.
Oh,
Mab.
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 Well,
yeah.
unfortunately, it's, the house is ruined.
But,
Really?
but there's still potential there. That barn in back
Yeah, I know.
is a decent space.
Yeah.
Where she had her
There's
business.
land all the way in
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That's a good, it's too bad that it was let go.
Let go. There's potential there. If something happens with Julia's project, you know, potentially getting the Head Start out of that brick building, that'd make a nice condominium
Yeah.
or something.
right.
But, you know, but it also, it pushes down into that area. And all those properties on the other side, you go all the way up the hill there. I mean, there, Max, you talked about.
Yeah.
That property in back where the water tower is.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, now, there's all these gems out here that need to be, you know, like accented.
Yeah, they're sort of just hidden,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
hidden
they are.
gems.
They are, there's the cider mill, the
Cider Hill.
Cider Hill
Hill
Farm,
Farm.
yeah.
That's fine.
Cider Hill. Boy, that's
It's
a
very
lot of land.
popular, what do you
Yeah.
call that?
The
What's that?
frisbee
Golf.
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf, yeah.
Thank you.
So
Frisbee.
as support of what you're saying, so we're on the library board, Bob and I, and you know, we opened a bookstore
Yes, downtown.
downtown.
How's it going?
And it's doing great.
Glad to hear it.
It's doing great. I mean, you know, we're above water and it's making money for the
Yeah.
library and
It's a piece of the puzzle.
it's terrific.
Yeah.
For the sake of listeners and me, how does that work? If I have a whole box of books, do I bring them in and you, how does it work?
Please call first.
Call first. So there's times that we need books and there's times that
There's too
we're
much.
overloaded with
Yeah.
books. And also, you know, what kind of books? So have they been in your basement for
Right,
10
right,
years
right,
and
yeah.
they're, you know, they're kind of musky and
They
they're,
don't want those.
we don't want those. Yeah.
Someone's been telling you about my basement.
No, it's that everybody's got those.
Yeah, everybody's got those.
We all got those.
So we've had some horror stories where people have just left books at the library
Oh, really?
and boxes and boxes of them.
Yeah.
And you know they've gone and cleaned out their house.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
readers.
And it's just, there's not a lot you can do with that.
Yeah.
There are books that sell and
So
books that
you're,
don't.
are you primarily to be a repository for used books to buy and sell?
To sell.
So,
To
I mean,
buy.
well, you
They're
get
donated.
them.
they're donated, yeah. Yeah.
They do that in Dharmascotta.
They do it very well.
That's a
They have a
booming.
great little
Yeah.
used bookstore in
Same
Damascus.
idea.
Same idea, yeah.
Large, yeah.
Very popular.
But obviously we want the goods that we're selling to be nice,
Yeah. I
you know,
didn't,
good condition books, so.
what's the phone number?
The
Call the
library.
8-3.
Oh, I thought you said you called the bookstore, okay.
1-800
No, library.
B-O-O-K.
What?
1-800 B-O-O-K.
That's a good one. I bet
Crappy
someone has
books.
that.
Talk to Cap, talk to Cap.
Where we need to go with this is start flushing this out.
Yeah.
You know, start putting components, what we need, who we need to contact, and start attaching some money, you know, how much is it gonna cost? And then that gives us the chance to look out
Is
for
this the map
grants.
that you guys
for
are
that.
We
using?
did a
Well,
study
no,
back
that's a
5-6 years ago.
that's
I know.
It's sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
More than that, actually.
Why, what do you
Maybe
need
a
a map of?
place to start is to
This,
look
what
at
we're
that
looking
and
Oh, this,
update
this
it.
is just the downtown.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Oh,
not-
okay, all right, never
Some
mind.
of, they had good
Take a
ideas
look
for
it
the
up if you want.
streetscape. The only approach I would take is,
This is,
you
Yeah.
know, do it with the
Bridge,
business and.
Jefferson,
Yeah.
Friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
then,
I think
This
you're
is just
right.
the immediate
yeah,
downtown.
and that,
And incorporate
Oh, this is the
Katie
lights.
Gray into that concept.
oh,
You can still
absolutely.
look at
absolutely.
what the downtown
You
looks
also
like.
want to make it, once you call it a village, then it makes it more acceptable to the people who live there.
Yeah.
'Cause we don't want to destroy the residential character.
No, 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 no.
We
Yeah.
want to enhance it. So we
Well,
don't
when-
want, you know,
Eh.
noisy things, but we want things that could blend in nicely and, because we want people to live there.
Well, it's
too.
also the transition, it's a transition from Route 1 to the village, and it changes slightly as you transition, so
That's a
that the
good way.
character in the actual village is more of a village character, but as you get closer to Route 1, it's a little bit more businessy, commercially kind of character. So we just have to be aware of the character.
Character.
And the
And
transition.
the hope is that the new streetlights for
Yeah.
that
Will
area.
help.
We'll start to
Right.
define it a little more
Absolutely.
Right.
specifically.
Yeah,
That'll be
that's a
I'm gonna
piece
have
of
to
the,
talk-
just
It
a
is a piece of the
downtown
puzzle.
plan,
Yeah.
Right.
sidewalks,
Right.
benches, things
They
like
have
that.
a good signage thing, a wayfinding plan too there,
Yeah.
that's the other part of all of this.
Yep.
Hidden gems can't be found unless
No,
we have a
you gotta look
wayfinding.
at-
Taxing is very viable now.
Taction is wonderful, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
That came together
Absolutely.
nicely.
Yeah.
Well,
Financially,
there's
that's,
a building next door to that that's been for sale.
It's a
Beautiful
two,
old
well, it's a
home.
one-family that
But-
was
Is
a
that the yellow
two-family,
building?
yes.
Is it yellow? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one that,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
looked at
considered
for the
that, yeah.
bookstore.
Yeah.
but it was a lot to
It's too
put in
much
for
money.
use.
Kastner's Country Store.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're all those properties, they need to, that's why I say upscale, upzoned a little bit. But also on Route 1, we can't write Route 1 off as just a.
No.
We need more activity there that draws.
And
Can we
need to
change-
beautify it somehow,
people?
like you said
Yeah.
earlier.
It's still, where we live on Main Street, and you look at, the work that's been going on at the Waldo, the work that's going
Oh,
on
yeah,
at the
it's
church
wonderful.
right
Yeah,
now.
it's really good.
wonderful. I mean, people are putting money into these
A
buildings.
lot of money,
A
yeah.
lot of money into these buildings
And
again.
time,
I think-
volunteer
I
time.
think your timing's absolutely perfect. I
Well,
think
that,
you're right
that
on the money.
helps, because, but it's not just for ourselves, it's also.
Right.
We want to make this place that, it's, has amenities for people to live.
Right.
Yeah.
And that will also attract,
Right.
because we're not going to attract them with a big store. But we can attract them with a pleasant main village. that
Yeah, an
has
authentic.
A lot of things.
You have some reasonably priced houses compared to other parts of the country.
That's right. That's right.
And an authentic Maine experience.
Yep.
Right,
And you can complement that with the,
right.
Waldoboro Days, with the Oktoberfest, with other things that,
The paint the town,
paint the town, all those things.
How close is the Waldo to having?
within a year. They think they may have a
We're
first
thinking of
show.
having our main event
No, I'm
there
pretty sure
in
you got it, yeah.
August.
You are?
Let me
Paint the
see.
town.
We have a lot of
Oh.
infrastructure.
Wonderful.
Using-
That's
using
incredible.
the Waldo for
Let's
paint the
see.
town.
Oh my
You
God,
have
that's
culverts,
incredible.
sidewalks.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes.
Culverts, improving the intersections.
That would be so
Sidewalks, utilities,
That would be great.
Riverwalk.
Riverwalk, yeah.
Kind of get your feet wet.
I said water
Oh, I
quality
think
Yeah.
I think that would be lovely.
Utilities.
And it would help them a lot. That would be great. Because
Yeah.
all, the right people
Pretty
coming
much
to
got
see
Yeah.
what's really the
Non-
progress.
non-car
That progress is
transportation.
Well, and
amazing.
it's the arts. It's a
Right.
perfect mix. It's
It's a great
a
mix.
theater with
Yes.
painters, artists.
Perfect partner.
If you're gonna look to promote something, you might wanna look for services that are diverse, daycare,
Yep. There's a
adult
demand,
daycare
there's a demand for
also.
both.
dog care.
Oh, dog care, right?
Actually, it's.
Well, we miss
yeah.
Perry's Kennel. Perry Green's kennels are gone.
Yeah.
Mm.
But a play,
Jeez.
those are some just general things that would bring people in. There's,
Yeah.
food products and whatever.
Yeah.
Haven't anybody been to the farmer's market in Belfast?
Yeah, it's a
Inside.
wonderful place.
Yeah, now there's no reason why.
The inside, the winter one.
Yeah, we probably have
Yeah.
more farms and
We aren't
whatever in
able
this
to
immediate
get
area.
attendance at the summertime farmer's market. We're not getting enough attendance.
That's a problem in
tried
all
two
of them,
different
though.
They've
Yeah.
got the building in
Locations.
Belfast. We
Yeah.
don't have a building like that.
For a winter one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used to use the Aubuchon, no,
Yeah.
that one, Aubuchon, on the, one there had a, like, greenhouse in the front.
Yeah.
And they used to use that before they found a spot. I mean, you have to be creative somehow. But that place started with one guy who went and bought the building, which was kind of dumpy. And
Turn it into
But
something.
It's great
Yeah.
for what it is.
Benny's,
One day,
I mean, Benny's is sitting there, you gotta be creative, needs a roof.
Winslow's Mills has a bunch of people going there every day to work.
Yes.
Oh, you got the, and
Yeah.
the,
That Grange building.
Grange.
Yeah, yeah.
Got picked up, it has a septic system now.
Yeah.
and it has a
It's got a
roof, and
pizza
it's
oven,
got
eh?
the heater, it has a wood-fired pizza
Nick
oven.
built
And
that.
it's just, no one's.
It's a beautiful property.
We
Yeah.
lost the,
the owner.
we lost the,
The owner,
Yeah,
just
He
at
was
the
a
moment.
gem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
So is his
That's right.
family or someone looking to?
Heidi's
sister.
Yeah.
family, Heidi Strand's
Yep.
family. Yep.
Good.
she's interested, but not, I don't know if
But,
they're,
someone just needs to
Yeah.
offer.
Yeah.
yeah, they're out of state,
Well, no, Heidi lives here with her husband,
We're just
and
down the
I
road
thought she
from
was
us.
in Vermont.
no, it was
No,
the
just down the road
it
from
was
us.
the
Oh,
man
that's
who was
right,
the
right,
owner
right.
and his wife who moved here finally.
That's right,
Finally moved here to full time it, and
Yeah.
he got killed.
yeah.
I can't think of the name of it, but there's a restaurant in Appleton up on the hill.
Oh, I know about them.
Completely not where you'd expect to find anything.
Off the beaten path.
Off the beaten path, extraordinary restaurant.
Driving people to it, people through Facebook and other,
But the reason I mention it is that if you build it, they will, if it's good,
yeah,
people will
people will
find it.
come.
And
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Moss's Crowd House.
You can't,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can't get a Ford restaurant, square footage in Portland.
I know.
So you have chefs and a lot of creative people looking,
Yeah,
Yeah.
in other places.
this place, if they put it on the market and promoted it for what they
It
put
might,
into it,
yeah.
it probably would go
It
because.
still needs work. I
Yeah,
mean,
but not as
but-
much. That guy did so much of it.
Yeah,
There's some, I'm not sure if it's blight, but there's some buildings that need some work at the
Yeah.
entrance to the business park.
Yeah.
Work probably doesn't cover it. But Winslow's Mills is a neat little area.
It
It was
is.
a really neat little area.
Yeah.
And could be again, and there's a lot of people driving there every day to work.
yeah, it's a major,
I mean, just a
Major
place for
corridor.
a great lunch would, a fast lunch
Wouldn't
would
it?
be.
Yeah.
actually, a lot of people going to the transfer station.
Something on the way
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
One example of that is that new bakery that they put up at East Pond Road and Route 1.
Have you been there yet?
Yeah,
I
oh,
haven't
yeah.
been there.
Oh,
We live
They
right
brought
up that
out
The
road.
gingerbread
Yeah.
bakery, is that what
Yeah.
they call it?
Yeah, the one.
Ginger Moose.
Ginger Moose.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet. I want to
It's a
go.
good
Oh, go.
place.
You gotta go there.
Oh.
I
They
went
make-
there on a Friday, sorry.
Yeah, no, good.
No, I went there just to pick up, I think it was a lemon cheese Danish and a little cinnamon roll. And,
That was good.
oh, and I can't remember what the little cracker thing was. It was like, I can't even remember what, it had a arugula,
Arugula.
Arugula. Oh, those are good.
Yeah.
yeah, and the price was just amazing. Like, I think I bought all 3 of those and it didn't even break $10. I think it
Wow.
was $7.
Yeah,
Wow.
And they make really nice bagels, different.
Oh.
Nice.
Now,
Yeah,
where's this?
real bagels.
Right on the corner of East Pond
Bagels
Road
hard to
and
find
Route
around
1.
here.
Turn around, you
On
go down the road,
Nobleboro.
take a left into the
Yeah,
market.
it's right where, you know the place that
Boil it
drills
before you
for,
bake it.
The Wells.
Yeah.
Wells?
Yeah,
Right in the
right
corner
next-
there,
right
it's right
across
on the
from
other
it,
side, the other
Absolutely.
corner.
It's
Okay.
the Maritime Energy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. All
the
right.
sign, I
That
noticed
kind
the
of
sign.
thing. I mean, right.
That kind of energy,
Yeah.
yeah.
The little, the food you can get at Cider Hill.
Oh, Renee's
Oh,
Food is,
she's
what-
got
I
it.
love her.
Yeah,
Oh,
she-
yeah.
You get- They
Home
use,
cooking.
they use Portland pie
Yeah.
pizza crust.
Right, good
And
pizza,
if you like Portland pie pizza crust,
Yeah.
that's where you get a pizza. It's
right,
really good.
it's
But
very
there's,
good.
why are we keeping this a secret?
It's not, it's all over Facebook, it's
But it's a secret to everybody else.
well, I mean, it's not really, I mean, she promotes all over
I know,
Midcoast
I know.
Message Board and everything. And she, for instance, she does a great prime rib takeout dinner
Yeah.
Oh, my.
every Friday.
Wow.
Really good, for 18
Very-
bucks.
Very, very reasonable, wonderful.
Very, all the
meal.
fixins.
Wow.
You can, 2 people can eat on that. It's really good, it's so big. So,
But that would be the next place to start fleshing this out,
right,
get all the components, and then whomever we need to reach out to, start reaching out and whatever.
So how can this committee
yeah.
get that process?
Right. Next
I-
steps.
I think the next step would be to, again, just expand the outline that we
Look
have.
at that plan.
Yeah, and then say, all right, we're going to target funds for this, and
Mm-hmm.
this. We're gonna have to hold some neighborhood meetings,
Yeah,
and meetings with the businesses, on that. That's gonna be critical.
so,
Just to get more people involved in this, and to also, with the neighborhoods, is also make sure people know, we're not making this something
won't.
that's offensive or
no,
to
it's
residential use. It's gonna be,
mix.
yeah.
Can't we have some areas of that commercial strip rezoned to like a multi-use so that we don't have to have no residential in those
Well,
spots?
that strip on one, you probably want.
How about the
business.
others? I
Oh,
mean,
the others, yeah, that's something they're working on now.
because
Yeah.
one of my biggest worries is moderate income housing for people who, whether it's renting or buying, for people who have young families and just need a reasonable way to get into, home ownership or home.
We can look in the land, and even in this year, we can look for the land and back.
Yep.
We don't want to give up the
Well, that's what I'm
strips,
thinking.
because it's walkable.
Right.
Well, and this goes to what Bill was saying earlier about wanting to get people away from Route 1.
Yeah.
I've had people calling about that one Hannaford lot that no one can build.
Yeah.
And they say, I want to build this like 20, 30 unit apartment building right there. And I say, I can't. That's
Why-
commercial.
Why can't it be built on the Hannaford land?
Because it's zoned commercial and it doesn't allow
Why can't they
multi-use.
do appeals? Can't we do no?
That's something we would have to allow residential.
Oh.
Residential. The one thing, to keep in mind is we don't have a lot of commercial or industrial space in town.
Yeah.
So what we have is valuable. So we want to, there's a
So
compromise
can we guide them
make.
to another spot?
I do.
Yeah.
Good, go for it.
It just
But
doesn't
that's
turn out
something-
well.
Yeah,
But that's something we could incentivize if we had sewer and water there.
right.
One of the places that would be really set up quite well for a multi-family place would be the old building that Miles is using for the doctors when they move up on the hill. They're going to put together a new operation up on the hill behind the ballparks, and the operation they've got there now would definitely lend itself to more multi-partner
There's
operations.
some right next door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Been there for
Yeah, a long time.
decades.
Yeah, we can find places for residential activities, but we don't want to give up some of the prime.
I got you.
Commercial space.
Commercial, yeah.
I'm just thinking about how wide is that commercial strip on each side? Is it a half mile in on each side from
No.
the center of the road?
No, half mile would be about 2,800 feet.
So do you know, can we get a measurement all the way along the whole of Route 1? How far in does it go so we can tell people?
We looked it up. It's not actually that wide.
No, I think,
Less than 1,000 feet in some areas.
I think like if you were to go to the property just one south of Hannaford, you're out of the commercial zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
yep.
I'm commercial, am I A or
No,
B?
You're A.
we're just
Right.
concentrating in this.
No, I'm just
this area.
thinking about, I'm looking in my head,
Oh.
I'm looking at the
whole
whole of
strip.
the thing.
I'd have to pull out the map
Okay.
to show that off.
We should figure that out so that we
Yeah.
can,
Well, we created, that's another
yeah.
discussion.
Because we have a lovely, we have lots of good properties on the market.
Yeah.
So Bob mentioned that there was a plan that was put together
Yeah,
some
there
years ago.
Yes.
So is there a way is that digitally available? Can you forward that?
The master plan for
Yeah,
the
Can you forward
downtown.
that to the members?
I can do that, yeah.
We
And
have-
then
we
maybe-
probably- I don't know if we have it digitally.
Yeah, it's a PDF.
Even if not, and it's just,
Renderings and everything seems
You
like.
did, but.
You have the
Even if-
downtown plan would
Yeah.
be good.
even if it's not, I
look
can
at
just,
too.
I can just scan it.
Scan
and
it,
send it.
Yeah, it's actually good because there's many parts of that plan. And it's a really interesting plan.
There's a lot of public input to
Right, there
the
was a
corridor
lot.
that you were
There was a
talking
lot.
about.
So we all
Yeah.
get that, we all read that, and that gives us some
Yeah,
Yeah.
ideas at least
That
moving
focused on the
forward.
village.
One of the
Yeah.
major problems we have in Waldeboro that we haven't dealt with yet at all is the town was set up for people who were burning firewood at home. There are a lot of houses and a lot of land in Waldeboro that's set up for you using a quarter of a mile behind the house for your firewood.
Yeah.
Absolutely obsolete.
Yeah.
We'd be wise to try and figure out how to make that land more viable.
Well, that's what Max
Trails.
is targeted. There's, all that land just sits there. and
Yes.
If we can get sewer and water to it, then that becomes valuable for housing and
I think you're talking about the
the strips.
The strips.
going up.
the
Yeah.
cigar plots,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you have maybe 200 feet of frontage.
Yes,
And it
Goes
goes
back
back
a mile.
2,000 feet.
Right.
exactly, precisely.
Which means either you connect them all from behind, or everyone has to have a road going beside their window.
I told Freddie to put a road across the top of the ridge, and he wasn't about to touch it.
But I mean, it
Top of the ridge.
That's how you do it.
it takes that level of,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
has to agree that they want the back of their property
Connected.
But
connected.
the old days of everyone burning firewood are just about gone.
Yeah.
And everybody should insulate the house to where we can all use electricity, and let's move on without burning a lot of carbon.
All right,
But
good.
that's our next step. And then we can, because the biggest challenge for us is going to be not working with the neighbors, but finding the money to do it.
Is the land use committee addressing any of this?
Yeah, they're looking at the residential, opening it up for residential further out in some areas. There's a couple provisions there to allow, Max just wrote the language for it, that would allow if, if you're in the commercial zone and your property is split, so most of those properties, the zoning lines don't follow the property line, they just split.
Yeah.
So that would allow you to extend the business zone onto your property back further without a zone change.
So capture the
It's-
development.
Capture, yeah, so that would expand
called?
the business, yeah. Because we want to
Is there a term?
incentivize the use of the back
I
lane.
just call it a zone
Because
expansion.
as much as possible, you can fit more there, developers can get higher,
So it
more
gives us a little
density,
bit
things
more
like that.
flexibility.
Most people
in
from
use.
away wouldn't have a clue that Waldeboro is a double township.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of land, and most people aren't
Six-
aware.
About 64 square mile.
And, well, it's a double township up
Yeah.
down the river, because that was
That's the
viable
s-
at the time.
Size of Plymouth, Mass, which is also
Double township.
yeah. They're rare, there are not too many of them.
Ellsworth.
Yeah, same thing, yeah.
All right.
How do you know about Plymouth, Mass? Just out of curiosity.
He
Oh,
was
boy.
there.
In Plymouth, Mass?
Yes.
Oh, we have a summer home there, not us, but the family does.
I grew up in the
On
next
White
town.
Horse Beach.
Yeah, I grew up in the next town over,
Oh, what, Kingston or?
other Duxbury.
Do you have any,
where-
Duxbury.
Oh, Duxbury, all right, all right.
you have any ancestors that were pilgrims?
No, unless they came from Siberia.
He looks like a pilgrim.
I've got some documented ancestors.
Do you
They
really?
were pilgrims, yes.
I have a brother-in-law who has that, but not,
Okay.
Next.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Next is Julie's town update, but can
You
you
give
guys
us.
give us a town update, possibly?
I don't know what you want me to give for a town update.
Lights with
Like
lights.
what's going on
wrong
with the
with the
community
website?
center, any
Was it-
activity there?
The website, I'll answer George
website?
first. Website still being updated. I don't know why it hasn't been online yet, but I believe they're working out the final bits of tweaks, and I'm hoping it'll be done by the end of the month at least.
Will we then again be able to go in and find information on parcels of land? Right now, it's like if you have to look for the phone number in the phone book to see whose it is. It's
Or come to
very,
the town office.
what?
Or come to the
Or
town
come to the town office,
yeah.
but I
I don't-
almost never do that at 11 at
I don't
night.
know. I don't think that was ever something.
I used to be able to find out plot plans, and
You could.
Yeah, they had it in there.
It was
you
on-
could go in frontwards and find out what you wanted to about a parcel and its valuation, its dimensions, and its everything, and now you really, well, I don't know if it's completely down now, but you
Well,
can't
no.
do that anymore.
Right, no, our website isn't functional now.
No, but I mean, if it were, when it becomes functional, will it go back to the good old days of being able to find out about real estate?
I don't know that.
Who's working on that?
Not me.
Tanya Blodgett.
Yes.
Ah,
I'll speak to her.
yeah.
Yes, that's why I'm wondering why you're asking me.
And then-
He's setting a trap.
Okay.
Gotta watch George.
Don't mess with, don't mess.
Website's still being updated. Okay, next.
Yes,
Alright.
website's still being updated.
Yeah, what was the next thing?
I was curious about if anything's happened on the community center. I know at one time she was having meetings and working on that a little. I know it's way out there, but is there any progress on that at all?
I think she's still working on getting the easements settled for how people can get into it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a possible location for funding.
Yep.
That's actually pretty
Absolutely,
exciting.
yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's all being. The thing is, I don't know what I can and can't say with.
Oh, yeah,
with
okay.
Well, you
this
don't want to
project.
say anything that's
Well,
not.
well, it's not a confidential. It's not a
No, it's
confidential
just-
thing. It's
you don't want
Julie's
rumors
very
flying
excited
around.
about saying stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel if I tell people,
You don't wanna
hey,
take
this
her
is
thunder.
Yeah, I'm worried what
Okay.
she's gonna
Alright.
do if I take
It's a wonderful
take that away.
project.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Alright.
very good.
And then,
What is this?
oh.
80 Gray is still
80 Gray.
Influx.
in
Near-
flux.
Near where the, park is.
The committee briefly met 2 weeks ago, I think, and I think it's still in the background phase for the developer who's interested now, and
Also looking at other approaches.
yeah,
What does that mean?
Making sure that we're putting together something that gives the town the best bang for the buck. That optimizes the economic value of the parcels.
That's a good idea. Yeah, make it viable tax-wise again.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. I still think that it's worthwhile to look at the properties around it to see if there are alternative ins and outs.
And that's one of the things
Yeah.
we're doing.
Because we did that on Gateway when we were talking about
Right.
all those properties.
Yep.
There was a way to connect up the hill.
Well, you don't want the only way in and out to be on School Street or whatever, you wanted to look around, because there's options, there's future, you
Mhm.
never know.
No, nothing's off the table at
Right.
this point.
Nice property, that's for sure.
The
Yeah.
Sylvania, if that's the right word, property, is
We're
there?
meeting with them on the 18th.
Good,
Doug
excellent.
James is coming down to say hello
Good.
Oh, on the 13th?
on the 18th.
To the selectmen?
No, it's just a meeting with Julie. I
Oh.
think I'll be there, and maybe Ron Phillips will be there.
And the plan is still, or we're still considering a solar array of some
Yes,
sort?
apparently that's what they're gonna come to talk about. I don't know what the town's gonna have to do with it, but, I mean, it's a private deal. But certainly to figure out what they're doing and what kind of
It's a use.
reception they'd get from the town. I
Yeah,
think
it's a real
important for them
use.
to know.
I've been talking to my friends in the state legislature about upgrading the substation here in Waldeboro by Moody's.
Mhm.
We're gonna need a
the other guy is?
good-sized substation if we're gonna have a lot of solar voltaic power.
That's not a bad idea anyway, considering that microgrids are a lot more secure than,
What we have now,
yeah,
yeah.
It's a good point.
yeah, it's a good
American-
point,
Eel people,
yeah.
as I was saying at the beginning of the meeting, I was with them today, and they're moving ahead, and they were looking at, from Revision Energy, a proposal to cover the roof with solar panels,
Great.
which opened up the conversation of, does the Waldeboro Business Park have an interest in a somewhat more extensive farm? And I said, well, sure. They were getting some proposals.
I've been told that an investment group from Massachusetts has bought the opportunity to use 5 acres of the Reed Farm for a solar farm.
Where's that?
Next to the.
Actually, I
on the road to
can,
the
I can
transfer
expand on that if you want.
Go ahead.
So that's actually coming to the planning board for a pre-application on February 12th, and it's actually, I think, 11 acres.
Yep, 11 acres, not 5,
Yep,
11.
I think 11 acres are gonna be used.
Interesting.
station. Along Noblesboro Road?
North Noblesboro Road,
Right,
yep.
right where you
Uh,
turn off to go to the transfer station.
Yep. And I was actually,
Up on the hill? I mean, up near the transfer
Where the
station?
cows
near
are.
the transfer station, yep. I got a map that I'm gonna be giving to the planning board soon for their eyes only. And it's actually very interesting. It's gonna be screened from the road, and they wanted to do a lot more, but they're stuck between a vernal pool and a resource protection.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
Is it like a rock and a hard place?
yeah.
Well, no, but, I
Vernal
mean,
pool and a resource.
yeah, I mean, those two are a lot more wet.
Yeah,
But we're gonna get a pre-application for that next week, and
Yep.
hopefully they'll come for a full application maybe in March or April.
Yep.
Is this a
That's good.
group that goes around doing this? Should I
This is a-
listen in and have them get my phone number if the
You-
park would like to have?
Right across
a
the
10
street.
You
acre?
can, yep, this is a private group from New Hampshire that's doing it.
Maybe I could get that contact information from you.
You could,
Hypothetically, I mean.
hypothetically, yeah, of course.
Maybe the library could get that contact information from you.
Maybe, or people can come to this meeting and then meet these people.
Tell me again what the meeting is.
February 12th at 6 PM. They should be the only people at the meeting besides the planning board members.
And this is the planning board.
This is the planning board,
So
6
it's a-
PM.
That's a Wednesday, probably.
Yep, and they'll be the only people on the agenda.
that's a good one,
Awesome.
okay.
I mean, the other town report item I have is streetlights.
Yeah, let's go right to that.
Yeah, so I got a very interesting email from Real Term last week saying that Hedstrom, the people who are installing the lights, was doing some rewiring work in Camden, and estimate that the job may be an extra $2,700.
What are we gonna get for it?
That's Camden.
Hedstrom is speculating that this is likely the same case in the other towns as well.
So what's it about though, the
I
rewiring?
think, is it a quote or an estimate that they gave us?
To us, 2,700 is the language says revision and installation allowances to budget 50% rewiring of the inventory and 10% of bracket grounding.
How many lights does Camden have? We don't know.
I have no idea where to guess
I mean,
on
I'm
that
guessing
number.
we have far fewer.
We do have far fewer.
So
We probably have a tenth of what they
It's
have.
not gonna be close to what they're paying.
This is something I'm bringing up at the select board meeting, hopefully next week. What's likely going to happen,
Change order.
well, what's likely to happen is removing 3 of the decoratives that are in the downtown and switching them to standard, just to make up the cost.
I'd like an estimate on what it would cost to change the light that's on the parking lot behind the stores to LED.
Are you talking about that light that's on the road, or are you talking about a light that's in the parking lot? There's this one at the entrance of your parking lot.
Yeah, it was back here going out. There's a light back here with a pole and so on.
Oh.
And replacing that with a more efficient light
Don't
could be
understand
quite,
that better.
could be quite valuable. Just wonder what it would cost to have that light
But
back here
they're
replaced.
calling it here, supply, okay.
I can see.
They're using percent numbers, so revision to installation allowances to budget 50% rewiring of the inventory and 10% of bracket grounding. Supply and install new 1 to 15-foot wire, complete proper with terminations, 25 of them at $55 each. Grounding of bracket, 11 of those at $60 each. And then a payment bond, which is negligible, 3%, 61 bucks. Performance bond, 3%, $61. Installation contingency, 5%, 107.86.
And then their fees,
And then RTE, whatever that is.
real-term energy fees.
Oh, margin on materials and labor, 18%, 497.19, it's like $500. So they're doing it all as a percentage, not by the numbers. So that's where they came up to the $2,762.
And this is just a budget, this is not to, they're not asking for money at this point, because they don't know what the problem is, they haven't.
Well,
even-
it's a
Well,
change
when
order.
when we signed our IGA, it said that the project would be maybe $76,000, roughly that number. They're saying that if we sign this, then we acknowledge that the IGA actually is more like $29,000 or $79,000.
79,000.
So they're adding this, it's a change order adding to the
But
contract.
So-
it's not a charge at this point.
It may not be, we may not pay for that full price,
Right.
but we have to acknowledge that
That
this is what it's likely going to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
Did they characterize what they didn't anticipate that they now know about, if I'm hearing this right?
I think they found it when they opened it up. but-
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
because what the other big difference is that we have bought the lights. Hooray! The town now has them. And when I contacted Hedstrom about being our maintenance team from here on out, they said they also do it for Camden, like they do the maintenance for Camden here on out. And what likely happened is while they were doing some maintenance work, they realized there was something with the wiring that won't match what the lights are supposed to work with.
That's why they had to.
And that's why they're adding in this extra amount.
So I'm gonna, how many lights do we have
Yeah.
in total?
Now we have 110. We're expecting to get 112 because we're gonna add 2 on 235.
So 3 lights, more or less, would be $2,700. Is that how you came up with that idea? You said you're not gonna do 3?
Oh, decorative fixtures.
Yeah, so that would be $2,700.
That would be maybe $3,600 we're saving. If we take out 3
So
decoratives.
you covered the
Covered
additional.
That's what I'm
Covered
saying,
the
yeah.
change order.
Okay.
And what's likely gonna happen, and I'll have to have the select board approve it, the lights that are likely gonna go back to standard are the ones on the edges of Main Street here next to the bridge, the one over here on Jefferson Street
By taxation,
by Taction, and then it's gonna be up to, and then the 2 I would recommend is either the one
at the
also
parking lot,
at the parking lot on Main
Yeah.
Street, or
Yeah.
the one in front of the professional building.
yeah.
The one at the professional building, maybe to get some more light.
Yeah, actually, they could probably, I mean, if there are 2 shifts now with the parking and everything, that might be good for them,
But that's something I'll just talk with the select board about.
yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't want to be, so they bid on the job,
Yep.
but didn't know something was wrong when they did the bid? That's going to cost more than they thought?
Realterm provided the RFP, and that's what Hedstrom was,
2 different companies.
yeah.
Okay.
Hedstrom is the consultant that we've been working with, and Hedstrom is gonna be installing it.
But you allowed change orders.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so
I'm just wondering.
Well,
if
it's just
they didn't look
interesting
carefully at-
why they didn't know that the
Yeah.
connections would be.
They had
Till
to
they
tell you
opened it up.
apart.
Yeah.
And they actually don't know. They're speculating.
Well, they,
that
because they
what
seem
they've just-
Camden. Yeah.
Right, they're speculating that that'll apply to us, it may or may not.
Do we have a ceiling on what these change orders could be, or what if we're in even worse? What if all of our wire is
I'm,
and I'm talking about Monday morning quarterbacking, but it seems like if they're in that business, someone should have uncovered something and,
I will not lie, Julie and I are not happy that this came in.
no, I'm sure.
Especially because for maybe a month, Realterm has kept badgering me, hey, you owe us money for the GIS. So I rushed to get a lease agreement that would pay for the whole IGA, and yet here they are maybe 2 weeks later saying, by the way, you need a little more money.
Yeah, that's
I'm,
troubling.
yeah. I'm,
That's, yeah,
It's, yeah.
I
don't
would
wanna
expect
be a-
that. I mean,
Could be interpreted as playing games for more money.
yeah. So
Have you talked to Hedstrom?
I was gonna talk to Hedstrom maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, as well
Good.
as some other towns, just to see what their
What their
thoughts are.
experience is, yeah.
All right, information.
Yep.
All right, and we're good on the service contract? That you were gonna hire?
Hedstrom.
Yeah,
Yep,
so is that a done deal now?
that's a done deal. We made sure to sign off on the fee schedule or not the fee schedule, but the, what the maintenance would look like.
And hopefully there won't be any maintenance while we're waiting to install the lights.
Oh,
So it won't cost us anything.
right.
All right. I have no old business. Does anybody have new business that they'd like to discuss?
Citizens' comments?
Citizens.
Citizens' comments?
attention.
First time we actually had to do a citizens' comments, actually.
When you talk about taking things like sewer and water to new areas for new business.
Yes.
Is there consideration for capacity for next medium? And by next medium, I mean fiber, gas, coax, or even old stuff like copper telephone plant stuff.
So it's
Those
underground instead of
basic
above
things.
ground?
You're thinking underground?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, 3 pieces of 4-inch conduit that are empty but are sealed.
Yeah.
We've been
That's
talking
important.
about it
Yeah.
for a couple of years. We haven't done a whole lot of digging for a while.
no.
Is there an opportunity to test it somewhere?
It would be good to be able to bury a lot of those poles. It would change the village appearance.
Yep.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're doing
If you're
a
doing-
major project, that's when you roll it in.
Right.
But
I
it's
think that's
still a
really
major
the
expense.
point, is once we're talking about expanding our
The
sewer
utility,
system
yeah.
and water, why not take advantage of that expense and go ahead and update the rest of the systems?
Yeah, it's a great idea, but it's a real expensive added
Can
cost.
can we learn from the number of times Thomaston dug its streets up again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, my
I'm serious,
God,
what-
that was really
Yeah.
bad.
Was there some rationale for the number of times they dug and refilled and dug those trenches again?
It's Route 1. It's Route 1.
DOT?
Who knows?
That's my guess.
Blindsided.
Poor engineering.
Yes.
I just hope that we.
If we can get a grant money that would cover that cost, that'd be great. We should do it.
The key
But,
is it's hard to get that much money for any of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I get that, nothing would solve more problems than infinite money.
I know,
Once you're expanding a utility,
yeah,
that's your least expensive opportunity to add that other
right, that's
capacity.
true,
Totally right.
it's true.
You're right, but today, we used to say $1 million a mile for
No, it's
running
more.
sewer.
Yeah.
Now it's $2 million a mile. And once we put more in that hole, because we can't put it in the same hole.
No.
We gotta shelve it,
Yep.
so we're digging more, into,
Then you
it
run
just
into-
becomes, it's a great idea, and we should probably get it priced, but,
Yep.
we're gonna have to,
Every
Ruben,
so
you
often
gonna
you run
be
into
sitting
main
up here with
ledge.
us?
yeah.
Are you gonna be sitting up here with us?
I was gonna fill out an application, yeah.
Oh, good.
Good.
All right.
Are you?
Yeah.
Terrific.
After watching this meeting?
I've watched you guys on YouTube a lot.
LCTV,
Oh, my God, well, that's great news.
yeah, that's great, okay. So we have another potential member there.
I don't know, the select board's pretty tough on new members.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Not this guy.
Nothing's gonna.
No.
That's a good point, though, I like that. I mean, at least you gotta look at the dollars and see
Yeah,
if it makes
put it,
sense.
absolutely, yeah, put it in.
You know, the same goes if you run stuff over the air, you've got to power this place at some point, right? So if you're doing anything at scale, even if you're not digging into the ground, any project at scale, contact every service provider in the area and see if they want to bolt onto that new stuff while it's being built.
Yep.
Good point.
All right, other new business?
I move we adjourn.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Got a piece of paper?
Thank you, Max.
Look at that.
No,
Just over an hour?
he started.
Not
We
bad.
started on time,
The real problem,
which we never do.
Doesn't matter if you